Buddy Mike here, head trader at True Trading Group, and on May 17th, more volatility in the overall markets, guys. It's not going anywhere. If you've been following my channel for a while now, you know that I've been talking about it for the last 2 weeks, really, about this volatility in the overall market and that how I don't think it's going anywhere. There's so much uncertainty on what's going on between the U.S. and China with their trade talks that the slightest news headline is moving the market, and we saw it again today. Okay, we saw it again today. And what I'm going to go over with you in this video is really just some advice on how you can deal with some of this volatility. Okay, because there's been a couple of times over the last 2 weeks, myself included, that a couple of traders in chat got caught in a position in the overall market, whether it was a TVIX position, SPY call options, SPY put options, options in like the QQQ or whatever it is that is an overall market trade. There's been a couple of times where we got caught on the wrong side of a news headline. It happened to me earlier this week. Okay, we talked about it in a previous video. Nothing you can do about it. There's no way that you could foresee Donald Trump sending a tweet. There's no way you can foresee the Chinese media source comes out with a news article. There's no way you can foresee a United States senator or Congress member making a statement. Okay, there's no way that you can foresee any of these things, so you can't plan for it. So what I am suggesting to our members in True Trading Group, and I'll share that with the YouTube channel, is if you are looking to take a directional trade in the overall market, first and foremost, I think it's extremely risky to do any swing trades in the overall market, because it seems like almost every day there's something new. Today, it was Chinese media source, the reason why we had this big gap down today. So we had this big strong rally yesterday. Everybody was excited yesterday. And then we come in the morning and we're gapping down 200 points. Okay, and the reason for the gap down today was because a Chinese media source said that the U.S. is not being sincere in their negotiations and that the U.S. is bullying China. That was the news headline. That is what caused us to gap down 200 points. Okay. And you guys also have to remember that I think that news headlines out of China carry a lot more weight than a news headline from the U.S. And when I say news headline, I mean a third-party news outlet. Like in the U.S., if it was CNN, Fox, the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, CNBC, Bloomberg, okay, those are third-party media outlets. If Bloomberg publishes an article or the New York Times publishes an article, okay, it's not going to have as big of an effect because they're an independent third party. China's government controls their media. Okay, that's the communist government. They control the media. Okay, so a lot of people feel as though when there's a Chinese news headline, that it's more than just what that news outlet feels about what's going on and their reporting, and more so they feel that it's really kind of how government officials in China truly feel. Okay, I mean, you guys know throughout the Trump administration, there's been plenty of times that you've had news outlets, specifically, everyone knows about the feud between Donald Trump and CNN. Okay, it's comical. I'm not going to talk about politics. I never will talk about politics on this channel. It's not the reason for this channel. But which side of the aisle you're on, it's been pretty comical watching Trump and CNN butt heads over the last 2 years. But you don't have that in China. Okay, so I think that's why that news headline carried a lot more weight than you would if the exact same news headline was published from, the Wall Street Journal this morning. Okay, and then you have the big gap down. Then the market rallies it all back. Okay, we rallied and took back that entire gap down. Real strong move. Okay, we also had news that the U.S. and Canada came to a deal, and they came to an agreement where they're going to lift the steel and aluminum tariffs. That helped add to the strength in the market. Another trade headline. That's the second trade headline of the day. Okay, first one was the China media outlet. Second is the U.S. and Canada lifting the steel and aluminum tariffs. And then right at 3 o'clock, you get this. Because another news headline crossed the wire that the U.S. and China trade talks are in flux. Okay, that they said that they're not sure what their next round, they're not sure about the status of their next round of talks because they're not sure what they're going to exactly talk about. China basically came out and said they're not willing to go back and talk about the topics that the Trump administration so strongly wants to discuss, and those are the topics that China reneged on, which are the topics that they had previously agreed to in prior negotiations. They were, this topic was agreed to. And then when it came down to finalizing a deal, they were 95% of the way done, and then China came back and was like, no, wait, we're not okay with that, when they had already agreed to it. So China basically came out and said, we're not going to talk about those topics. So since they're not willing to talk about those topics, the U.S. and China are like, well, then what are we going to talk about? And that's the news that came out at 3 o'clock. And you had the big drop in the market. Okay, when prior to that, everything looked great. This is a good looking setup here, guys. We had the big gap down, we rallied it back green, then we pulled in, we cooled off the rally, but then we were holding. We pulled in right into VWAP. VWAP held support. We pushed back green, and we were coming right out of lunchtime, and we were set up for a close up above 287.50. We were set up for a green close, and then that news comes out, and you get that big drop. Okay, at this time, there were a couple people in chat that were long the market. They were long SPY, so they were long some call options in the SPY. Okay, and they got caught in that news headline, and they got hurt. Okay, earlier in the week, just give you another example. Earlier in the week on this day, okay, in here, I bought some SPY put options and I was long the TVIX. And then right here, bang, the news comes out about U.S. delaying auto tariffs on Europe. And I got caught on the wrong side of that trade. Okay, it's every day. Every day there's some type of news headline that is moving the market. Okay, we are extremely susceptible to these news headlines. I've been saying it for a couple weeks now. And the advice that I am giving, okay, our members is, since you have an added layer of risk, this risk did not exist, okay, in January, February. This risk did not exist in Q3 in 2018. Q4 had its own risks with the Fed. That's different. Okay, but if you have this extra risk factor that you can't control, that's increasing your risk on the trade. So if you enter a position on the SPY, you will always have a risk reward, okay? But this extra factor of susceptibility to, I don't even know if that's a word, susceptibility, I think that's a word, okay, to these news headlines, it increases your risk. It also increases your reward in case you're on the right side of a news headline, but it increases your risk. Knowing that you have this increased risk factor that you can't negate, what you can do to offset some of that risk is reduce your position size. Okay? Reduce your position size. And that can help offset the added risk that you have right now trading the overall market. When you're going after individual stocks, small caps, mid caps on earnings or something like that, that's different. Okay, I'm mostly talking about a play on a directional move in the overall market. I think swing trades right now in the overall market are very risky. Okay, you've seen how big we've gapped down and gapped up in the last couple of days. I mean, look at the size of this gap down. Then you had this gap up. Okay, then you have this gap down. I mean, these are big gaps. Then you have this gap up, and then you have this gap down. These are big gaps. Look at the size of these gaps, guys. Okay, so swing trading right now is very difficult. You know, even day trading these, you know, overall move in the markets has become very difficult because of these news headlines that come out in the middle of the day. So that's what I'm kind of going over with our people is, you know, maybe try reducing your position size if you're trading the overall market. Maybe take profits a little bit sooner because you always have that lingering unknown of Donald Trump pulling out his phone and sending a tweet. You always have that unknown of, you know, a news outlet interviews a congressperson and they say something about the trade talks, or somebody catches Mnuchin walking out of his office and a reporter asks him a question and maybe he's just in a bad mood that day and he responds in a nasty way and it makes it sound like he's frustrated with trade talks and the market sells off. Okay, that's how susceptible we are. So I just wanted to come on, make this video real quick to kind of go over this with you guys. Hopefully this helps. If you've gotten beat up a little bit this week, specifically in directional trades in the overall market, don't feel too bad. It's been tough. Okay, it really has been tough. It's been very hard to pick direction. There's been a lot of volatility. We've been down, then we're back. Then we've literally gapped down, sold off, gapped up, pushed, gapped up, faded, gapped down, rallied it back. I mean, there's not a clear trend right now. You have algorithms and people basically just joshing for position every time a news headline crosses that has the word tariff or trade in it. Okay, so I hope this helps. Okay, I hope this helps. Maybe try to reduce position size and take profit sooner while we have this volatility. Guys, I don't think it's going to go anywhere either. Trump and Xi, President Xi of China, are going to meet at the G20. That's a month away. That's a month away. So we might be open to these headlines for a while. I think, you know, there's a lot of uncertainty on where exactly do we stand with the trade talks, because some people say it's just a little speed bump. Other people say we're at a major stalemate. And there's a lot of uncertainty on exactly where are we. Is this a major, are we at a major standstill, or is this just a little bump in the road? And we can't really get a clear answer. And that's why you're seeing the market move so much on such light or insignificant news headlines. Okay, I think maybe once Xi and Trump sit down and meet in person, I think we're going to have a much better idea and understanding of where we truly are. How far are we from a deal? How likely is a deal at some point? Sure, something might happen between now and then where we get some clarity, but it's possible that for the next month, we're not going to have clarity until they actually sit down and meet in person. So be smart, guys. And also, lastly, what I'll say is if you get caught on the wrong side of a directional trade in the market when a news headline like that comes out, exit and exit quick immediately. Just exit the entire position immediately. Do not get caught in a news headline and just sit there staying in the position and hoping and praying that it works out in your favor. Okay? Do not let that happen. If I did that the other day, I would have gotten crushed. Okay? But the other day, I'll go back to it. Okay, here was that day. Okay, I was in some SPY options and the TVIX, and we had this huge explosive move when that news came out. Guys, I dropped this position right there. Okay, and you can see if I held on to it and I like tried to be cute and see what's really going to happen, then you're looking at you're looking at that. Okay, so it's a good thing I exited when I did. I still got my ass kicked on that, but I could have gotten really, really, really hurt if I didn't exit the position when I did. So if you do get caught, exit and exit immediately. Okay? Have a great weekend, guys. I'll see you all on Monday. Take care.